Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse just released a big secret. He said it out loud, and I think that we need to really kind of focus on this because it is a big deal. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. If we take a quick look at this recent clip that Subjective Views posted on X, I strongly encourage everyone to join the free Discord. There's going to be a link at the top of the description below. This is one of the most valuable and informative Discords out there, and it's completely free. There's a free side that has a ton of free crypto gems, free market strategies, guides, market trends, free charts, and there's also going to be new cheat sheets dropped in this Discord. And already, we have a ton of testimonials from members of the Discord that have been absolutely loving it. So what are you waiting for? Go and click the link at the top of the description below and join the free Discord. We have, while watching this clip, keep in mind that Ripple is a member of the BIS, or Cross-Border Payments Interoperability and Extension Task Force. 5 central banks have interconnected their instant payment systems, creating a framework for faster and more affordable cross-border payments globally. These include the central banks of India, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, and Thailand. All 5 of which, by the way, are major giants tied right back to Ripple. I mean, if you just go do some research and look these names up with Ripple, I can almost guarantee you that you will find at least 2 or 3 connections to all of these. But we have here a video, and this is from, Point Zero Forum. This is with the BIS, as well as I believe that this is Banco Central. This is the Central Bank of the Philippines. Emphasize the real benefits for consumers brought by the BIS Innovation Hub's Project Nexus during a global policymakers panel at PZF 2024. Check this out.
Nexus delivers one of the aims of RPC, which is to interconnect the instant payment systems of ASEAN member states. But Nexus delivers much more than that. It offers a lot of benefits that we never thought of. First is the multilateral arrangement. It is among the most efficient ways of delivering connectivity of cross-border payments, as each country just needs to connect once, and that country is already connected with the other countries in that net. Second, being global in scope, a transaction happening in corridors outside the ASEAN can reduce the transaction unit cost of all participants in the network. Third is ASEAN has a growing tourism sector. Over 100 million tourists having visited ASEAN in 2023. And with Nexus, visitors from other countries can conveniently purchase goods and services if they come from countries that are connected to Nexus. So, therefore, in my view, Nexus delivers on one of the aims of RPC and much more. And finally, to get there, we need to continue and strengthen the public-private collaboration
And there's the secret little phrase there, private-public collaboration.
Cross-country cooperation that has been the hallmark of the work that has begun among the countries that you see here on stage.
So as we listen to a lot of these discussions, focus on what they're telling you, which is we're collaborating together with the private and the public sector to build out this new financial framework, infrastructure. Remember what this really is in retrospect to any major innovation in the past, right? Like, if we're really kind of focused on what Ripple is doing, when we really kind of focus on the connections that Ripple has as well, I think that we do need to be heavily centered on the fact that, yes, Ripple is working with the BIS, the Central Bank of Central Banks. They are working together. And when we hear about cross-border payments, when we hear about all of these major innovations, one thing comes to mind, which is the fact that Ripple is literally on the Cross-Border Payments Interoperability and Extension Task Force with the BIS. Now, let's go over here as well. This was July 9th of last year. This is even before Ripple was working with the BIS. There was zero confirmation of that. And here we actually have at the Point Zero Forum last year, collaborating to deliver payment system innovations. This is hosted by the BIS. Wrapping up several weeks on the road, repping Ripple. It is super encouraging to witness the open dialogue that the MAS, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, pursues with the private sector towards the goal of advancing the digital asset ecosystem. I said, while retail continues to be distracted by nonsense, I continue to focus on the big connections behind the scenes. I am rolling the dice and betting on the utility assets that are mentioned in IMF, BIS, World Bank documents. Like those, I strongly believe in other players too. Utility is the key and will be the key. But first, we need to have a regulatory rug pull of the garbage in the space. Connections and networking is happening. This technology is being trialed and tested by giants within the global system. It's only a matter of time. Things are moving fast, but many don't realize it. Now, in this video, I'm not going to play it, obviously, for you guys, but I do focus on the CPMI group, which this is all around DLT. We have the BIS Bank of England conclude DLT settlements. BIS complete the CBDC trial using blockchain with the Bank of England. This goes back to 2023. Now, I was speculating back during this time with a proof of concept with Ripple. Now, we know that Quant was working with the BIS. We know that they had a trial with the BIS. Again, mind you, during this time, there was no mention of the CPMI group with Ripple. Knowing what we know from that point and knowing what we know today, I feel as though it's very easy to come to the conclusion that Ripple is working on the new financial system with many players. But the BIS is one of them. And even over here, we have a private meeting with, of course, Brad Garlinghouse on the right. You have the head of FinTech office, Bank of Indonesia, the IMF, the DTCC, you have SWIFT, MAS. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on here. And these meetings, I focus on more so today than ever before. Even though they are old, I still focus on them. Or even the fact that Brad Garlinghouse shared the stage, literally, with Ross Lecco of the IMF. He's the director. And I said, when I come back to this video, it's so clear that Ripple has already won. Many people will say it's an old video or it's a nothing video. They are the same ones that say all the private meetings with central banks and global elite organizations are nothing too. You have numerous documents from the World Bank, the BIS, the IMF, and various other organizations that mention Ripple and XRP. Most of these documents only mention Ripple and XRP too, which should tell you something. Call it speculation, call it whatever. In my opinion, XRP will be a big piece of the restructuring of our global system. Now, I'm going to play this clip. It's about 46 seconds long. It's old, and I'm sure that a lot of you know about this clip, but I'm going to play it again just for all of those out there to listen closely to how Brad is talking and the way that he kind of jokes around the IMF holding crypto assets.
Can you see those? Oh, there's 2 votes.
Let me try.
Do you see IMF holding crypto assets in the future? Oh, they're over here. That's easier. You want to take one? Go for it. The first one's for you. IMF. Do you see IMF holding crypto assets in the future? I did not put that up there.
Remember, I'm from the legal department. I'm supposed to be very conservative about these things. I don't want to go into great details about
Maybe
the
I
IMF.
should take what the IMF is going to do. I think we stunned Ross into silence with that one.
For that to
And again, you know, it's just how does this seem like 2 individuals, right, that are just meeting each other for the first time and are having a professional conversation? No, it feels as though these are 2 individuals that know each other well to the point where they're just joking on stage. It seems as though they have a much deeper, connection. It seems as though they have been in private meetings. They've been talking about things. And I believe that Brad Garlinghouse also knows the answer to a lot of those questions. Now, on top of this, remember Ripple Swell. There is a Swell event coming up this year. Let's go back to 2018. We have Brad Garlinghouse. It is so important to proactively engage in working regulators. We held a private meeting with many central banks in New York. 20% of it is to tell them what Ripple is doing, and the other 80% is letting them talk to each other.
What do you think that you would like to see from financial institutions and governments, knowing that you work with both very closely?
I love this question in part because I think it is so important that the industry is proactive in engaging regulators. I think many in the industry are quick to blame regulators. As one manifestation of this, Ripple brought together about 30 plus central banks from around the world. I think it was 2 weeks ago, yesterday or the day before. My time zones are screwed up, but in New York City, we had a private meeting where it was, 20% it was talking about what Ripple is doing and socializing with central banks from around the world what Ripple is doing, but 80% of it was letting the central banks talk to each other. We have found that when we're meeting one-on-one with central banks, that we're having a lot of one-on-one conversations. They want to understand what other central banks are thinking about blockchain. What are they thinking about crypto? What are they thinking about the risks, the pros and cons to some of the evolutions? And so for us, it was, let's create a catalyst to bring them together and talk about it. And yes, we were one participant, but it was important, frankly, it was a private event because I think it was easier to be open and direct about what's going on around the world. But I think we all should need to be proactive. And I think those that like to throw the regulators under the bus and say they're stymieing innovation, they're slowing things down. To your point, they provide a critical piece to the stability and mitigating fraud. And these are things that matter, whether it's blockchain or other digital assets, that they matter.
Now, again, this was back in 2018 before the SEC lawsuit. They were proactive around engaging regulators even during that time. Now, fast forward to today, just recently, Brad Garlinghouse was at a event. This is Brainstorm Tech. He's shocked that crypto has become a partisan issue. Why would we have a Republican versus Democrat dynamic around innovation? Before I play this clip, this is what Brad Garlinghouse said. Essentially, only in the US is this even an issue. Elsewhere, folks from the public and private sector start out by talking about how profound these technologies are and how they can improve existing systems. He said the quiet part literally out loud because when we go back to discussions, all of these events, all of these major private meetings lead me to what Brad just told us, which is public and private sectors are talking about how profound these technologies are, how it can improve the existing financial system. And Ripple is one to be in all of those meetings, essentially. But listen closely to what Brad is saying here.
Look, I'm going to start by saying it's shocking to me as a kid who grew up in Kansas that somehow a technology like this has become a partisan issue. Why would we have a Republican versus Democrat dynamic around innovation? Like, we should want technology that reduces cost, improves efficiency. The fact that this became partisan, I think really, the patient zero on that is Elizabeth Warren, who uses as a campaign talking point that all crypto is used for bad acts and et cetera, which is absolutely provably not the case. But now you have, in a somewhat crazy way, a dynamic where the Republicans are pro-crypto and a bunch of Democrats are anti-crypto. I'll give credit to a Fortune reporter who's one of the first people I saw tweet out, this is JJR, Jeff John Roberts, tweeted out that Biden will gain 0 votes for being anti-crypto and Trump will gain tens of thousands, I don't know what he said exactly, but many votes for being pro-crypto. I agree with that tweet. And it makes no sense to me. And there are leading Democrats who I think are trying to solve this and leading in. I was at a crypto roundtable in Washington, D.C., led by a California rep named Ro Khanna, Mark Cuban. It was about 25 people. Anita Dunn, in a personal capacity, who works directly for Joe Biden, was in the group, as was Mark Cuban, Senator from New York, Gillibrand. So look, I think there's some leading Democrats recognizing that maybe got this wrong. I was sitting next to a different representative, who I'll leave unnamed, who said that he was there largely to do a mea culpa. He's like, I got this wrong, and I had looked at this the wrong way. And I do think it's because people believe the bullshit. They have people espousing things that just are plainly not true, and they believe it, and they have to learn for themselves how crypto is really being used. There's a lot of very good actors in this space that are trying to follow the rules of the road, and we've been asking for 5 years, give us clear rules of the road.
Yeah.
And so I'm hopeful that eventually this will become a nonpartisan issue, but right now it is partisan, and I think the Republicans are playing chess where the Democrats are playing checkers.
Right.
So there you guys have it. And, you know, one thing that I will say is all the regulators, they're playing their role. All the politicians are playing their role. I feel as though we're living in a big show right now around crypto, and we're just waiting for the season finale. And that season finale is the regulators giving the green light, bringing in regulatory clarity for the space, and then utility assets going crazy parabolic. We know that Ripple already forged their path forward. All of these private meetings, all of these discussions, banks are already ready. We even have Ripple telling us, hey, US banks will want to use XRP after their partial victory. I haven't really witnessed any major banks saying that they're ready to use it. You have Bank of America that said, yeah, we want to utilize on-demand liquidity once the case is done. But outside of that, there's no other major banks that I have witnessed say this. But it seems as though Ripple is already in discussions with a lot of US banks around this. And I do question, are they still waiting on institutional sales? Because you got to remember, like, these banks are institutions. And I do think that that's exactly what we're waiting for. So we're basically at the finale. All we are waiting for is that last episode. That episode where the regulators finally do their job. But remember, it's not just the regulators. They have orders from higher up. And I do think that this is just to kind of wait things out, build the infrastructure, get the infrastructure ready, get everyone on board. And then once they are ready, everything will be pushed live. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, though. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys did enjoy this video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.